Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here. You know, I start to say hello, and then the woman says, recording in progress, and it interrupts me. If the guys here don't interrupt me, she does. Anyway, today is March 8th, 2023. Last week, I noticed that I said it was 2022 again, and nobody stopped me, okay? You didn't. You were the only guy with me, I think. Or anyway.
Possible.
Well, yeah, maybe I was wrong. I don't know. Anyway, this is Gavin Johnston, Johnston. Everything about recruitment.com. He's a recruiting trainer, and I'm going to do an ad for him right off the bat. Maybe that's not a good idea, but he's got a very interesting, this is intriguing, a very interesting approach to recruiting. He says, get yourself a niche, an industry niche. And I think, Gavin, am I right that you say there should be 500 people in your niche? That's sort of the limit you're looking for, so that you are, I'm going to tell everything and then he can critique me and say, just like Rich, that recruiting animal, you have everything wrong. Okay. I think he says 500 people so you can get to know almost everybody in your business, all the candidates, all the clients personally. And then they get to know you, they give you all kinds of information about their industry, and they feel comfortable with you. Is that the foundation of your strategy? Do I have it right? Everything about recruitment.com?
Nearly, yeah. I'll just say, if you're placing freelance contractors, 500-600. If you're placing people in perm, what you guys call a direct hire in North America, you'll need more, because the turnover from one job to another is longer. So maybe you need 1,002 to 2,000.
Okay. Now, also here in heaven is Sasha Tesanovic, and she still hasn't got a website. No matter how much I suggest to these people, even if you don't have your own business yet, spend $25 on a domain name and post it to your LinkedIn profile. Finally, the salesrecruiter.com, he finally did it himself. Okay, the salesrecruiter.com. Raise your hand.
Hello.
Cox. Okay, so Sasha, that's a lesson for you. She's not in her own business yet, but she's going to be, and that's a lesson. We tried to teach it to Ellie a few times, hireellie.com, Ellie with a Y.com, but no, she knows better than us. No, she doesn't. Okay. And you know what?
Happy International Women's Day to me. Thank you, Michael.
Hey,
that's tomorrow, dear. Okay.
No, that's today.
No, it's
March
today.
8th.
It's today.
Yes.
Feliz Día de las Mujeres.
Gracias.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Everybody wants to tell me they speak more languages than me. Sorry. Okay. I know a bit of French. I live in a bilingual country, kind of. Okay. So International Women's Day, I actually have something interesting to say about that, but I won't. Okay. Here's something that Gavin commented on. What software do you use to send out your newsletters? Gavin said two things, Kajabi and Sabrina. Do you want to talk about that? Because I don't know what you're referring to.
I never met either one of those people.
Hold on a minute. Sabrina? I know nothing about Sabrina. Now I'm getting interested.
She's a witch.
Well, you're going to have to look it up then. What about Kajabi? What's that?
Kajabi is actually it's a platform for content creators. If you've got a course, like, for example, my course is hosted there. So it hosts your website. It allows you to have your course built on it. You've got your like a CRM in there. So all the people interested, you can follow them up. You can send off newsletters, things like that.
Okay, and so Kajabi is Kajabi. Do you have a newsletter, Michael G. Cox?
No.
Okay.
No.
Is it a good idea to have a newsletter? Anybody got an opinion?
I would imagine it's not a bad idea. Eventually, you could build
what a
your
transformation. I wouldn't recognize her. No blue hair. Okay.
Can't hear her either.
Yeah,
it's been a while. Sorry to interrupt.
She wasn't
I had
talking.
some time
she
and
wasn't
thought
talking.
I'd check in.
But Michael G. Cox, what did you say about a newsletter? You're putting me to sleep. Okay. Why don't you think you need a newsletter?
I don't have one. I would imagine it would be a good idea to get one.
Okay, that's why do you think it would be a good idea? Why?
Well, I have a lot of brain farts, and maybe people might like to get a whiff.
That's whiff. Yeah, isn't that disgusting, everybody? This is how this guy talks, you know. He sounds
You're
like
not
so
asleep anymore, though, Animal.
Sounds so respectable all the time. He came from
I didn't want to put you to sleep again.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, but you don't want to, you know, I won't argue about that. Well, Gavin, do you think every recruiter should have a newsletter?
No, I think recruiters should not have a newsletter. I think they should be recruiting.
Okay. What about you, Becca? Becca Acosta, do you have your own URL? Are you working for yourself now, or are you working for corporate?
I'm actually working for a consultancy agency out of the UK who's kind of just letting me have like carte blanche to build my own book of business and whatnot. I'll be quick, I promise. I know you don't like long-windedness. I was working for a cybersecurity startup, a unicorn. They got $1 billion investments, brought in a PE, private equity group. They came, did what they did, changed management, you know, removing redundancies, worked ourselves out of that contract. We grew them from 400 to 1,000 employees. So now I'm just kind of dabbling in power delivery and utilization, like recruiting engineers while tech's down, but still dabbling in some tech and selling tech business in both US and Canada right now.
Yeah, I didn't ask you
that
question.
Back to your question.
Do you have a domain name? You know, I said, do you have a domain name?
Not the brightest today.
Go get a domain name. Get a domain name. Point it to your LinkedIn profile.
Rebecca,
my opinion, I don't have a domain name. I just have my LinkedIn profile. I'll link that. But back to your question about the newsletter, whether it's a newsletter or just building a strong brand on LinkedIn, doing posting and stuff like that, I do think it's important because you want to network with the people who aren't looking right now. And unless you make yourself look like an expert in whatever market that you're in or whatever interest that you have, like how are they going to know to come back to you when they are looking? At least, you know, with a newsletter or constantly posting on LinkedIn and building your brand, you know, you're giving them a little bit of comeback sauce. You know what I mean?
I have to go then on LinkedIn. I have to go to LinkedIn and find you and look at your newsletter to find out what's in it. Okay. But do me a favor. I want to teach you the Ernie lesson. Can you adjust your camera so I don't have to look behind your head to the wall over there? My eyes naturally gravitate to your face instead. You're on screen. Why is half the screen empty? Okay.
Ernie.
Wait, are we talking to Ernie?
No, we're talking to you. I have to tell Ernie all the time, but he kind of learned it already. There you go.
You know what? I
Congratulations.
I don't listen to him. I don't listen to him.
Yes, he does. Foodindustryrecruiter.com. I recommended Ernie on LinkedIn, and he recommended himself after, and he said food industry recruiter, but he didn't put .com there. Okay, so I had to go back to it.
I don't use that domain though.
Yeah, but that goes to your LinkedIn profile. You posted your LinkedIn profile. You don't even have to. You can't remember that one anyway.
But I don't have a website.
Your LinkedIn profile is your website. Okay, don't make me call you names, Ernie. I have respect for you.
Loud noises
coming after me.
Tranquilo,
I'm wrecking the show, but I have to tell you, I've seen lots of people say, ask online now, what are the good podcasts to go to? And they never say this one. So I went and looked at some of the others. I guess I haven't got to the good ones yet because they're no better than this. I think they're more boring. Okay. No, I haven't seen them all. Okay.
But I will say with regards to that, this is the other ones are kind of like invited and staged and stuff. And this is the only one where you can just hop in, talk, shoot your stuff, come up with different ideas.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people
here's the problem with the Recruiting Animal Show. It used to be a podcast.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
One day,
it should be again.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to make one point. I have started posting like 2 videos a day on LinkedIn. The only person who likes them
is Gavin.
Is Gavin. He's half of them, right?
I like them, but your podcast needs to come back, dude. I get to, because with video, the problem with video is that you have to stop everything you're doing.
Yeah, they're only 2 or 3 minutes long, though. I mean, anybody can watch for 2 minutes.
I know, but your podcast used to be an hour long, and it was great.
Okay, I'll do that. I will. I promise, Michael G Cox. I've been thinking about it a lot. I have to cut. Now I know how to edit. I can cut all this crap out of the show.
Don't waste your time editing.
Yeah, I like editing. I think those little clips are good. Hold on, let's do a little survey. Gavin, are they good or not? You can say they're not good.
I think they are because they're short.
They're short clips I'm posting.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I like What about you, Becca? Have you seen any of them?
Oh yeah, I love them, but I think that they're great bite-sized advertisings for the show. And I'm with Michael G Cox. I did like the podcast version.
Okay,
I like
that's awesome.
But
Yeah,
even though it's video, you could still kind of put it on in the background and not watch. But I think that's the show difference.
No, but he wants it to be on Apple, Apple Podcasts. Okay.
Or Spotify is fine. I'm happy with that.
Okay. Thank you.
The only problem with the clips that you put on LinkedIn, whenever I see that, I'm going to be like, I'm in the clip. I'm like, oh, I just cringe. Like, what did I say?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I think it's going to be much worse, to be fair.
Okay.
Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing, man. That's all.
Okay. Last time I took out a lot of what was said. It took me a long time too. Okay. Does anyone know an outreach tool that sends a LinkedIn request, and then if that's not accepted, sends an email automatically? Rich Rosen says Jobin Cloud. Jamie Aiken says if Rich recommends Jobin Cloud, that's probably the way to go. But I've also heard good things about skylead.io. And
Duck
another
Soup is another one.
Which one?
Duck Soup.
That's the original.
Yeah.
Okay. And Duck Soup will send, if you send a LinkedIn request and it gets rejected or no answer, then it'll send out automatically an email.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else?
They use Luxo. I mean, if you want to, Luxo's got
that's your applicant tracking system.
Yes, and I can say, going back to Rich is a Crelate guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's recommending this other place, but he hasn't.
Jobin Cloud. Yeah.
He just hasn't jumped ship,
Okay, well, I don't know, but he always says they're good. There's also someone said Lemlist, and he said, I moved away from Sourcewell because their customer support was bad. Sorry, Sourcewell. By the way, everybody, we do have 2 guests who registered. I didn't twist their arms in the end of March. 2 people actually want to come on the show. But Becca's going to be in trouble now because I'm going to go back to her episode and I'm going to start she's been on twice. I'm going to start cutting those up into little LinkedIn.
Right. Put Becca on there.
This is actually my 3rd time, but I always have
no, you were the guest
so
before. Now you're just a panelist. Okay. Okay. Ernie, did you want to say something?
No, I just want to say, Becca, right on, do it, go for it.
Yeah.
She's sharp.
Okay. So does anybody use those things where you send a tool, you send out an automatic LinkedIn request, and then if it doesn't work, anybody use those? Michael G. Cox seems the most likely one.
We call them campaigns, and sometimes they use them, other times they don't. Then you can also go with mass emailings.
Yeah, but you told us, Ernie, already you're not into that stuff. You're very personalized.
You are. You call them, but it says you have 4 things you can do. You can email, you can text, you can call, and you can send them an in-mail. And if your program has all 4 of those features, you can do that. It just depends on when you want to do it. And as I was reading some stuff and listening to some things, I'm finding out that this new generation just wants to receive text. So some people have used that campaign format where they have all the options to just text 5 times.
Yeah. I just posted on LinkedIn a bite-sized thing where Ernie's saying use the phone. Okay. Okay. Now he's saying text. Michael G. Cox, you use one of these automated things that switches automatically from LinkedIn to email?
No, I do. I have used automation and probably will continue to do so, but I don't send like the LinkedIn connection request and then an email unless I know it's going to a work email, because the overwhelming majority of human beings that are on LinkedIn have their LinkedIn connected to their personal email account. And I try to stay free of their personal email accounts.
Okay. Anybody else want to? I got lots of these. Rich isn't here, but I have something on a teleprompter. I actually saw one of Rich's ads, video ads. Anybody seen them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he does as good a job as he should, and I'll tell you why. I think he doesn't practice. He communicates better here on the show. Anybody agree with me? He's not here. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it.
I'm happy to talk behind his back.
Okay. I can cut stuff out. I can say anything.
Showing him?
What?
Because I noticed that on his LinkedIn profile, he has a little microphone that he gives a little speech about what he does, which is pretty neat. So if
I haven't seen that. Okay. What about this? When they ask the company name, okay, what do you say on a cold call? You call somebody up and they say, what company is it? What do you say? Let's go around robin. First, Gavin. Maybe you're in a contracting thing. Well, what would you say? What do you recommend the recruiter does?
It 100% depends on the circumstances. If you know the person, even if it's the first time you call them, but you've got references and they're a known quantity, by all means give it, because it's reassuring and it shows trust. If you do not know that person, don't give it.
Yeah, but you don't know the person on a cold call, okay?
You can. You might be calling somebody because you got a referral from somebody else.
Okay, so you got some background. Becca, what about you?
Like Gavin said, I mean, it depends on the type of role you're recruiting for, all that. Generally speaking, though, I will say it, but then I will follow up with the statement of, who that client is by saying, but I work with XYZ, not necessarily names, but industries, where they are on the Forbes list, stuff like that. So, even though I'm recruiting for this role right here, I think it would be silly to kind of pigeonhole you into that one opportunity when I'm really just trying to uncover like what your motivators are and determine whether or not we can have, a relationship that is mutually beneficial. You know what I mean? So we can talk about this, but let's not spend all of our time here because then we might miss something else.
Okay, Ernie?
I say when you ask me what's the company, my answer is, hey, look, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to tell you everything about the company, everything that I know. But before we do that, let's talk about you a little bit. And let's talk about why you want to make a move.
How you doing?
And what you're looking for, because that's most important to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael G. Cox?
It depends on the client. So I have some clients where I'll just tell them straight out, it's this company and I'm working with this individual.
Okay, you're not on a retained search, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, with like 2 or 3 of my clients, definitely with 2 of my clients, I'll just tell them who it is because I know this client does not post the position. And so they can't really go and apply directly.
I've had people go around my back and then later on they say, I hope we're still friends. Okay.
If there's a risk of that, I'll tell them, look, I think we need to have a longer conversation before I disclose that. And if it makes sense, if this opportunity makes sense for you and you tell me you're interested after we talk about it, then yeah.
What about telling them, look, I'm a recruiter. I have a concern that if I give you the company name, you might go directly to the company. I'd rather give you the information once I have your resume. Once you send me your resume, then I'll know that you have a serious interest. Does anybody think that's awful? Too blunt? Going to turn people off?
Yes,
I think it really depends on the circumstance.
Becca first.
Yeah. I think it really depends on the circumstance. I mean, if you have a confidential search, you really have those concerns about the candidate. It's one
not
of those
confidential. It's confidential for you. You don't want them robbing your fee. Okay.
No, I mean, if you're working a confidential search, like the client doesn't want you to go out.
No, you're not doing that.
Maybe
the
they're
client
firing
no concern
or whatnot.
It's good for the client to get the candidate without a fee that way.
Yeah, there are situations where it is confidential. There's situations where it's not confidential. I don't think what you're saying is a bad idea. No, I don't ever think that it's hurtful to be too blunt. But for me, the way that I go about it is more along the lines of like what the benefits of being submitted by me are versus submitting yourself. And usually those are manager contact, understanding, you know what I mean, like what the ins and outs of this particular rec are, especially if you're in like one of those roles that, you know, the title's the same everywhere you go, but the scope of work is going to be different depending on the team.
Let's make that the next question. Does anybody disagree with what I said? I didn't ask the people in heaven yet. I know Dave and Sasha are there. Okay, Gavin, go ahead.
Contact into heaven?
We have people in heaven now. Okay, they're on the show regularly.
They're the ones that don't show their face.
Yeah,
that's
Gavin,
what he calls them. Like Sasha and David that are on here.
Let Gavin. I don't have to edit these down. Let Gavin say his piece. Okay. Now I'm going to bug you guys about the editing.
I just would not say something where I'm actually basically saying quite bluntly, I do not trust you.
Why not? You don't trust them.
Because our whole business is about creating trust. The whole idea is that our industry doesn't have the best of reputations, and you want to be able to say, I'm different from the other recruiters, you can trust me. But if you then suddenly turn around and say, but hold on a minute, because I don't actually trust you, it doesn't work. And so for me, I would never go and say to a candidate, I don't trust you. I would say something like, I am not allowed to give you the name of the client. until interview time or something like that. But I wouldn't go and bluntly say to the candidate, that
tell a fib,
I don't trust
or
him.
tell a fib. In other words, a lie rather than be honest. Okay, that's a good out. Okay,
Rather
makes
than hurt
sense.
the
It's the
person.
real world. It's the real world. Okay, I don't know. I just say I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
What to say
in
that
lieu of
situation.
telling them the name of the company, Gavin, you would recommend what?
Well,
Tell
for
them you
me,
can't. You're not
definitely the first
allowed.
thing
He
is
said,
I need to
tell
get the
them, I
guy's
can't
CV.
give it to you. That's what he
But
said.
the whole thing is, I mean, the down and dirty is if they insist on a company, then just give them some company name. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's not,
And then
that's
later
not
on,
gonna-
later on, you go back and tell them, now let me tell you the real company, but I need to get over that hurdle with you because
In the meantime, I've applied to the other one.
Yeah,
You know?
well, this guy says he's not calling people on the phone. He's sending out cold emails. And when they ask him, when they reply that they want to know the company, and he said, I'll tell you once I get your resume, he never hears back from them. It doesn't
Yeah, but
work.
that's a whole different approach than just picking up the phone and calling them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
these are
why.
cold
Yeah,
calls,
that's,
not
You
emails.
know, if you
That
start
sounds
doing the
very
email
bait
stuff and tell me
switchy.
who, and pretty soon you're a talker, and some people really don't like to do this texting, email back and forth because that's BS and they're fishing. And if you want to talk to me, because that's how we get the ball rolling. And if not, then that just cuts you loose and get out of here. Because you're not really serious about what you're doing. Get out of my life.
Okay. Let me see. Understanding the job. I found this one really interesting. Okay. This guy says when you connect on a cold call with a potential candidate, maybe this fits in with what you guys have been saying. Tell her that the purpose of the call is to determine if the job represents a good career move for her. Don't push the job. Both of you get to assess the fit. So you're not saying I got a great job for you. You're saying I'm working on a position. I'd like to have a chat with you to see if it might be a good fit. Then for the first 5 or 10 minutes, review her LinkedIn profile to find 4 or 5 learning or opportunity gaps that your job offers that her job doesn't. If you don't really understand the kind of job she's working in, you won't be able to determine that. Does this sound reasonable to anybody? What this guy's formula is?
Yeah, but it's about, if you've got your first contact with somebody, you're going to say, your ultimate aim is to get that person to move. So you're going to say, what do you like about your current job? What do you not like about your current job? You'll want to get basically ammunition that you can use later on down the track to say, yeah, but you said this, and then this job has got that, or this organization has got that. So you want to first and foremost find out about what's happening now.
Yeah, but here in this case, he's not counting on the candidate or the potential candidate to come forward with those ideas. He's saying the recruiter's job is to discover them and point them out to the candidate.
If you're looking for our job is to fill jobs as recruiters. You have to know what your client is looking for. 1, 2, 3, 4. In a very quick summary with the conversation with the candidate, you go after those points. I see your background. I love what you do. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions. Can you do A, B, C, and D? If you can do that, then we're talking. If you can't do that,
that's different. Matter. That's different. You're asking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The guy's
where
doing
can this be better for you than what you've got now?
I ain't got time to talk about your background all day long. I want to talk to you about what can be done to help fill my client's role, because there's a pain there and it's got to be filled, and y'all got to have the background to fill it. And if you don't, I don't need to waste your time.
Wow.
But wouldn't you agree that candidates are more closable when you understand what their pain points are as well?
What was that again?
I said, but wouldn't you agree that candidates are more closable when you also understand where their pain points are, just like you would a client?
What I'm saying is you're trying to move along and there's a position, but say they don't have the qualifications. And if they don't have the qualifications, why would you be wasting your time? Because in reality, when people say, can you help me get a job? That answer is no, because I don't have a job order. You know, and a lot of people, when they're starting out, they're always saying, oh yeah, my cousin has a job, but he needs a job. Can you help him? And they go, yeah.
We're talking about a different situation. Okay?
I know, but what I'm saying is the focus. When you're talking about the focus of our job, it's to fill position.
Everybody says, Ernie, why I like what you said was because it goes exactly against what everybody says. They says it's not about you, it's about that other person you're trying to sucker in to buy from you, okay, to do business with you. So you're saying, no, it's about me. And I want to see first if this person can fit my goals. And Becca's saying, no, you're going to be able to sell him or her better if you find out what their pain points are first. Anybody else want to get in on that? No,
I wouldn't say first. I would definitely say, discuss fitment or understand fitment, even if you don't spend a lot of time discussing it. But I think the question or the point that you raised is that whoever said what they said, thinks that, our job is to understand where the candidate can grow from a position and why the position, would be attractive to them in terms of like challenge. I agree and I disagree. I think that's important after fitment, like Ernie says, but I think more importantly than trying to understand like how that role will challenge them is you have to understand what your candidate's motivators are, and you have to understand that candidates have multiple motivators. So you have to figure out how their ranks stacked in order to close. But Ernie's right. I mean, before all that comes fitment first and foremost, because we don't want to waste our time.
And then after you do that and you see there's a fit, then you go into your selling mode with what Rebecca is saying. You go into like, look, let me tell you why this is a great company. And then you list of things, and then you got to go into why they should move and how this.
And I'm saying that if you don't really understand what the engineering is or food industry jobs are, then you can't actually tell someone why this job is going to be have growth potential, why it's a good move for you. Anybody else? Michael G. Cox or Gavin? Come on. I know you disagree with. I know everybody disagrees with what's been said so far.
Michael and Gavin are so quiet; they don't like to talk.
Yeah,
they're introverts. Yeah.
No,
the thing is I work. Sorry, go ahead, Michael.
Well, I'm thinking about all the conversations that I have. I typically, especially on a cold or even warm call with the candidate that I've been looking at, and now I am approaching. When we have a conversation, I usually go first. And let me give you a quick rundown of what this is, what this entails. And I'm going to cover compensation even, because if it doesn't make sense for you, if this opportunity can't afford you, I don't care if you like it or not. So I will give them a rundown, and then I'll be clear and tell them, now we're going to talk about you. And if it doesn't make sense, and this is obviously going to be just my opinion, if it doesn't make sense, then I'm going to stop this and we're not going to move forward. But so I don't know. I don't feel like it's closing or improving the close later, because if it makes sense, there really isn't a closing happening.
Are you, what do they call it when you supernaturally filter somebody else's spirit? You sound like Barack Obama. Okay.
Barack?
There was a line there. I can't remember what it was, but it was exactly like him. Gavin, over to you.
Oh man, I wish I knew what that says.
I work differently, of course. So that's what I was thinking, because if I call a candidate, it's 99.999% of the cases, it's somebody I've already spoken to. Yeah. As my approach is, I first identify the candidate, I build that relationship, and only later do I go and talk about anything else. So I was trying to put myself in Ernie's shoes and understand how I would do it in his case. I think I would still want to understand more about the person, because it is about placing somebody in a job, but it's also about taking them out of another one. And there are so many things that can go wrong in the selection process. And then counter offers or offers from your competition for other organizations and other jobs, that you want to have as much information in your hands that you can come out and argue that your opportunity is the best. And also, even just when it comes to like negotiating package margins, etc.
So you have to understand why one job is better than the other. Okay. But if you don't really understand the nuts and bolts of accounting, for instance, or a real normal career progress within that profession, you can't argue that. Ernie, you want to say something?
Well, I was saying it's true. You first of all, number one, the experience has to be good overall. If you talk to somebody and you find out right off, like they want 150 and your job only offers 100, you could end it right there. But if they're a good candidate and you like their background, then you kind of compliment them and say, yeah, you're really good, and this one is way below you. And then you go into, but let me find out what your background is and what your needs are. Because if something comes up, I want to be able to help you. Yeah. And then you take it from there. But you don't necessarily have to cut them off. You just have to know when you're wasting their time. And if they fit
because
go ahead.
Because we're never going to come across one of those Simon Sinek situations where he talks about how nobody hires for experience or skill. We all hire for attitude. Like, man, shut up with that. It's stupid.
But you know what Becca said before, I think fits in here. She said, you're always, if you work in a niche, you want to find out about that person, even if they're no good for your job. Isn't that right? Isn't that?
Yeah, I mean, we're all agency recruiters here, I think, from seeing your posts on the group and stuff like that.
Not up in heaven. I got David and Marr. I have to ask him what he thinks. Go ahead.
Oh, heaven's an in-house situation. I get it. Yeah.
No, it isn't. Heaven is people who won't show their faces on the screen. We hear their disembodied voices.
I've done agency and corporate and consulting.
Okay,
go finish off.
Either way, here nor there. If you're an agency recruiter,
people who don't want to show their faces on the screen, and yet you're wearing sunglasses and a winter hat. Hello.
Hey, he lives in Canada. It's always cold up there.
That's right. Go ahead.
I thought that was a hat. I thought
this is Women's Day. Let Becca finish. Don't.
That's his hair. That's his hair. That's not a hat. That's his hair.
Yeah. Like, you guys ever seen Joe Dirte, where he had the wig sewed onto his scalp, like at birth? I thought that's what was going on with you, animal. I don't remember what the hell I was saying.
Okay, let's ask David and Marr.
No, we're all agency candidates, right? Yeah. I mean, if we're all agency recruiters and you have a good candidate on a line that you don't have a requisition for right then, I mean, if you're a sales recruiter or you're doing a 360 desk, why wouldn't you want to market that candidate everywhere? Or if you know that you have a client who has historically recruited that skill set in a while, why wouldn't you want to manage that relationship and play the long game? You know what I mean? Because just because you can't play some game.
I hope I remember it. David and Marr, though, I said I'd give you a chance to talk. Go ahead. He's not there anymore. Sasha, I don't think you want to see.
Drop off.
Are you there or what? I mean, don't make me beg. I'm trying to give you a chance. I
have to drop off, though. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Talk to you later. Take care. See, that's what heaven means. They're up there above us. Okay. We can't see them. Okay, Becca, you've been here for a while. We've got new terminology. Sometimes we say it's paradise. Okay. Okay. Everybody's flashing around the screen.
I thought Ernie just gone to hell.
I wanted to see what heaven looked like.
Yeah. Becca said something about marketing someone. I read someone say that marketing a candidate is way better for business development than just calling people and offering your services. Would everybody agree with that? Michael G Cox said he doesn't want to market people. Did you not say that a second ago?
It sounds like a lot of work. I've never really engaged in it.
Never?
It is somewhat.
So I can't. I'm sorry. Just real quick. I can't knock it because I've never really engaged in it in direct placement. When I was in staffing, I did it all the time.
Becca, you want to counter?
No, I think there's a lot of benefits to it. I don't believe in rules and a one size fits all kind of like solution for everyone. And I think that you should definitely diversify like your attempts no matter what you're doing. But if you already have the relationship with that candidate, you know what they're looking for, you know what they have to offer, and you know that there's an opportunity on the market that you haven't gotten into that aligns with it. Why wouldn't you take that candidate's profile?
You don't know there's an opportunity. You go shop this person around to see if there's an opportunity.
Well, usually, I can't speak for all, but usually when you're doing sales, you try to find leads or find out who is hiring and then market to those. But again, there's no one size rule. Sometimes you do that. Sometimes you have a different strategy. What I don't like, and I mean, I'll fight whoever wants to on this, is people who go out and market resumes to clients trying to do business development, and they're just dummy resumes. or their farm resumes, or their people that they've never talked to. But if you have like a legitimate relationship with a candidate and you know what I mean, they trust you, then why not say, hey, I don't have anything right now, but this is what I'm targeting in the market. Since you're looking, would you mind if I reached out to maybe this company or this, you know, person that I know and share your resume with them? Maybe we can open up a door together. You know what I mean? I think that's smart. But again, not all
your heavily redacted resume.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want them.
Anybody else want to comment on that?
You don't want them to take your client or candidate.
Gavin's doing those exercises I recommended last
dabbing it out. Oh,
yeah. Okay, Gavin, you see, you're in a. See, the thing is, you're a trainer, so you can talk about recruiters who are doing different work than you are specifically. You're placing contractors. What about what I said is trying to get business.
In 2014, I joined an agency that swore by what you just described, using NPCs. And I was like, nah, I don't believe it. But I was forced to do it. And I did it for a while.
NPC, for those who don't know, is most placeable candidate, okay?
Kevin, before Gavin, let me ask you this one question real quick. In doing NPCs, and you have a candidate, and you send them out, your NPC candidate, did it result in placing that candidate or getting you other job orders?
In my particular case, it resulted in zilch.
Why? I want to hear why you don't like it. That's what you were getting to before Bernie. Before Bernie stepped in.
No,
okay.
So basically, I find it. I find it a very unproductive way of working. I mean, a lot of people swear by it, but I actually find it very unproductive because it's a bit like, you know, you're throwing your rod out there and you're hoping that something's going to catch. And I don't work that way. I want to be much more focused, much more specific, and much more precise on both sides. So I've got the right candidate for the open job. The only situation where I would say that an NPC is worth it is if you're starting your agency today and you need to make some money very quickly, and you know a few real NPCs, but really them that you're going to place. Then do that for, let's say, 3-4 weeks. And then that's it. You stop and you get down to really developing your agency. And that's
shocked. I am
shocked. Some quick money.
Both you and Michael G Cox are dissing it. What's your business development strategy then, Gavin? Is it just finding out from the candidates you've built relationships with who's in the market for people and then calling them? Is that what you recommend?
Either that or getting the information of clients or prospects or clients who are advertising, or going to nick leads of all those crazy agency recruiters who think that posting an ad is a great idea.
So if you see an ad, you figure out who it's for.
Sorry?
If you see an ad, you figure out who the company is, and then you go in and offer your services.
Yeah, that was part of the fun of the job. You get every morning, you get all the jobs in, all the ads in, and you go, aha, that's them, and aha, that's them, because you know your market so well. That's the point of working a niche.
Gavin, does it matter whether it's a new job or whether it's an old job?
The only thing that's going to change for me is what you're saying to the hiring manager. If it's an old job, you know you've got a much bigger chance of getting it because they're desperate. If it's a new job, you've got to be more careful. You've got to be a bit more, you've got to ask more questions to find out how big the pain is.
And if they tell you, you know what, I just posted a job, I'm going to wait and see what happens because I think I can fill it on my own. What do you tell them?
Well, the first thing I would say, look, I've actually got 3 candidates here. I can send you can have their CVs within 3 minutes. I've even got interview slots. I've been working these, whatever the profile is, niche for so many years. These are the best they've worked with, and you give a list, ideally, of their competitor organizations, and you explain what their whole value is of having them on board.
Okay, so but his strategy is that he's always got a stable of candidates in hand. You're not going into that manager and saying, hey, can I do business? Can I do this search for you? And I'm going to go out and find some people. You're not doing that.
Come with a solution.
Come with a solution, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, let's ask the genius. He's here. Richie Rich Rowe.
What do we got, guys?
Cornerstonesearch.com. I was criticizing you, Rich, behind your back. Everybody cut me off. Okay.
Nice. Thank you, everyone else.
We defended you, Rich. We defended you.
Thank you, everyone else.
Rich, we're talking about MPC.
I like a t-shirt.
Thank you. It's David Patterson special. Yes.
Most placeable. Michael G. Cox has one too. He's
exactly.
Some videos. Okay. So
around here somewhere.
Most placeable candidate. Okay. Michael G. Cox doesn't believe in it. Gavin despises it. Okay. Do you believe that kind of marketing is worthwhile?
1,000%. Absolutely. I think MPCs, are the best way to market personally.
You want to elaborate?
No.
Okay, now let me put it this way.
I said, therefore it is.
Why is it better? See, we started off, this person said it's much better than just calling people and asking for business, telling them who you are.
I just think it shows immediate value. If you've the negative of it is so many recruiters call with BS candidates or call with fake candidates and it never materializes. But if you've actually got a real person and you can leave an authentic message and you can make a video about the guy, you can do 100 different things. You call with real value. Hey, listen, instead of you searching for, spending $20,000 on a search in terms of your, team's time, here's a guy I've got on my desk that's a perfect fit for your opportunity. Whether you've got it or not, you can always use an improvement. You can always upgrade your talent, especially in this current market. So 100%, I always do MPC marketing.
Okay, and what if your candidate goes in then and they're not that interested? Will you say, I'm going to go and find some more people for you?
Yeah, I've got a contract now. Why wouldn't I? You got the opening, you got the details on the search because I got to go pitch the candidate anyway, But like I have candidates all the time, like make me a list of companies you're interested in. And then now that I know this candidate's interested in these companies.
Okay, so you're like Gavin, that you have a stable of people, okay, that you're ready to go with. And Becca also said something that you just said. She said, speak to the candidate, ask them first if you can go into specific companies. The way we've done it in the past also is you just get a good candidate and you say,
but I'm
going to call some companies. You don't check them with every
listen, you don't need a list from the candidate, but it helps. It helps when the candidate's already interested in that opportunity. He's potentially interested in going to company X. So then I can call up to that company and say, hey, listen, I've got this candidate. I know he's interested in what you guys are doing. He's busy at working, but for the right role, he'd be open. And here's what this guy has done. Here's what he can bring to you, yada, yada, yada. You make the good story up.
Rich, in your situation, your background, your searches, what's the percentage of people that reload?
Almost none.
Because they're all sales.
Yeah, even be pre-COVID, it was almost none. I hated doing reloads. I did a handful of them, but
what's the reload?
Relocation.
Like they move.
They require them to be on site.
I find them impossible as well, but I guess
it's not worth the time. It's just, why make life hard?
Okay.
So.
Maybe you want to take on these other people with some other question we had. What was the other question I had that I had it in my, I had it in my mind a second ago. If I don't ask, well, I'll tell you what.
Hey, I'm curious, Rich, when you're doing, because I've never really done NPC. I can't really knock it because I've not done it, but I'm curious. Are you doing that? Are you approaching a current client?
Both.
An old client?
Both. Both. So I'll, if I know an existing client, it's a piece of cake. It's super easy.
Yeah.
If it's a new client, I'll set up a drip campaign. I'll follow up with phone calls, whatever it takes, just like it's a regular search,
Do you begin that with a company that you see that's not a client, but that you see that they have a job opening, or does it matter whether they have a job opening?
I never look. I shouldn't say I never. Very rarely do I go and look for current job openings because I figure all the drag recruiters are already going through those anyway.
Like Ernie.
Sorry, Ernie, but if you're going through Indeed and saying, oh, here's your these companies got 14 openings. Oh, you know who's done that already? The 50 other recruiters, 100 other recruiters in your space that are they're just looking for jobs. They're going to be busy, but they're not going to be profitable.
Yeah. See, I don't do new clients. I get my stable of clients that call me.
Yeah.
So it's
and if you got enough clients that you can rely on, that's great. I've have a ton of clients but I don't trust anyone. So it's a problem. So even though if they come to me, awesome. I go out to them, awesome. But I'm not relying on existing clients ever.
So Rich, a candidate tells you, hey, can you tell me the name of the company? And it's a contingency search. What do you say?
No. I mean, if it's it depends when they say it. Are they asking at the forefront of the conversation?
Yes, at the beginning.
No, I'm like, no, listen, let's have a conversation. Let me see if you're a fit for this or other opportunities. If their only interest is just to know the name of the company before we even talk, and you know, some people just ask because it's natural response, and I get it. So I say, listen, let's hop on a call, and if they hop on a call and they say, like, what's the name of the company? I'm like, slow down. Let's find out a little bit about you. What's going on in your world? Why you're
pump your brakes.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's going on? What's the right role for you? I mean, if they really keep pushing and I think they're good, I think I've said this before. I usually say it's Yaffe.com, which stands for "You're a fucking idiot," and it's great until someone actually bought the goddamn domain.
They've been listening to you.
Yeah. So I haven't checked lately if it's still up or not, but it was my little joke to me. It made me laugh. And, you know, the candidate felt great. And I just tell them the site's down right now. So they can't look anything up anyway.
Yaffe.com. I never heard of that. I've been in the industry for 10 years. Okay. That's a natural. Ernie said also give them a fake name. I want Gavin to tell you why you're wrong.
But Gavin, I deal with startups, so it's very believable.
Okay, but Gavin says you're wrong. Mind you, you agreed with me, Rich. Sorry to tell you.
No, God, day is over.
Take it back,
this is now vodka. No more water.
But Gavin's going to tell you why what you're doing is telling the candidate right off the bat, I don't trust you. I don't trust you, you bastard.
And it's
I've actually led with, I don't trust you. Look,
yeah.
Here's the thing. If I share this with you, what has happened in the past is somebody just hangs up and they go and apply directly. And then it creates a really awkward situation because then I got to go to the client, share your name with them and say, hey, just in case this guy applies, I spoke to him already. And now we're both looking like idiots.
Yeah. Or I just tell him, listen, like, you know, if the guy wants to listen, I'm like, it's not that I don't even trust you. It's the fact that, listen, I know you don't mean to be malicious, but hey, listen, it's Thursday. You'll be at a party tomorrow night. You'll be drinking. You'll be talking to your buddy. You're going to tell him about this great opportunity you heard. Next thing you know, I applies, doesn't go through me. I lose 40 grand. And, you know,
well,
then
not only do you not trust him, but you're treating them of alcoholic.
Absolutely. Dude, I play sales guys. They are alcoholics, you know.
In sales, yeah. Plus a little white.
Exactly. I got a little powder on their nose, and it's all a big mess, you know. But but no, I mean, I don't. Even if it's an engagement fee, I don't ever see the need to tell them the client up front. I know a lot of people do. I mean, good for them, you know.
Gavin, do you want to challenge him, or do you want me to comment before we move on?
I love how Michael makes this a confrontation. I love it.
Yeah. You know, the reality is
that you're doing the wrong thing.
You know, but even when he's yelling, he's agreeing with you sometimes. So you can't tell you assume.
Very cool.
Hey, I like the fact it's like global politics. He goes over and he says, hey, what do you think about this? And you go to another country and you say, hey, did you hear what they say about this? I don't know what you're
But I want to give Becca hasn't been here for so long. I want to give her more of a chance. She doesn't butt in as much as everybody else.
Working right now.
A softer voice.
You and your manners, God.
Yeah, but
I know it's women, like International Women's Day, right? I should stay more, but I'm
exactly.
Good. Yeah, I'm good.
We have respect for you, okay? We know you're a tough customer, and we don't think you're less than us. Does anybody think Becca's less than me? I don't think she's better than me. She's smarter than me. Is that okay, everybody?
Nobody thinks that you're better than her.
Yeah, I agree, Michael G. Cox.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to say something to bug Rich, but it's evaporated from my mind. Do you want to know what I had to criticize you about?
Please,
Mr. Rosen. Okay,
please.
I watched one of your famous videos. Okay, and your problem is, first of all, you wear a shirt. I like to see you in the sweatshirt. Okay.
I was trying to be professional for a change.
Yeah. Secondly, you don't practice it at all.
No. Zero. I do one.
He wants you to practice.
I do 3 takes max, and then it's out. I don't even watch it. If I don't feel it was good, don't care. Goes out, it goes.
Okay.
Nice and authentic.
I would do it 10 times till I had it.
I used to do it like that, and then I hated doing videos. So I said, screw it.
Okay.
I'm just doing it. This is what it is. People don't like it. They don't like it. They love it. They love it. I don't really care. It helps them. Did you watch the one on the resume I did, the sales resume?
No, I just, it was a job. You were presenting a job.
Oh, yeah. I just do those in like 2 seconds, like on the spur of the moment.
Yeah, it was boom. I was wondering. I said, is he speeding up his voice or, you know?
I just make it up as I go.
Loom now automatically speeds you up. They do like 1.2 speed versus 1.0
Okay, they were doing that for him.
You got to turn that off.
So you do that. You do that on Zoom.
Zoom or Loom?
You don't have to turn it off. It's better that way.
Yeah.
Probably.
Zoom or Loom or what do you use?
Loom. Loom.
Loom.
Michael G Cox, did you watch the one I did on the sales resume?
No.
You should Google it. I thought it was pretty good. Gavin, you should see it. It was pretty good, I thought.
I haven't seen any of these videos.
Where are they? On your LinkedIn?
Yeah, on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn.
Right, I'll check it out.
I wonder, am I following you? I never see any. Oh, I saw the post where you said, hey, I'm going to London. And then I said, well, look, he's
I don't know how that came up. Like, I filled out this thing thinking I could do it virtual. And next thing I know, you post this like 1,000 emails saying, hey, I'm going to be there too. I can't wait to meet you.
Look, if I posted it, you didn't really get 1,000 emails.
I don't know how that thing got made or who did that or why that happened, quite frankly. But, you know.
Becca, do you have a question for anybody here, or you want to challenge anybody here, or make a statement about anybody here? You want to? I'm not forcing you.
Look
I'm
at
just
you trying to get people to pick fights.
Oh,
no, actually, I did have a question. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, and you guys were talking about a lot of tools that manage your campaigns on LinkedIn for you and like automate it in terms of if they're not accepting friend requests, it'll go and turn around and send them messages and stuff like that. I've never used anything like that. I mean, I use like Lucia and whatnot on top of LinkedIn to try to pull phone numbers and emails that aren't like, you know, advertised or anything. But the recs that you guys gave were Jobbing Cloud, Skylake.io.
No, the question is that Ernie had a good question. How come Rich has Crelake for his ATS, but he recommends Jobbing Cloud for that stuff?
I don't.
Wait. But I said that angrily.
I was just going to ask, like, where would I start?
Why did he say that?
Becca, since they are being so rude, not answering your question, you can use like Ulink and Jobbin and all those. And Jobbin is different. Jobbin is a whole ATS, but it's like Jobbin eventually will be really good. The problem is it's so fucking complicated right now. It's hard, but it's the guys there are really nice. The product actually has so much potential. I just use it for the LinkedIn features. I don't use it as an ATS.
Okay.
But do they give it to you for free though, or do you pay?
I don't pay for anything.
Okay.
Okay. So that was the main question that I had, just like getting more information on like of all of those suggestions, which one would be best to start with.
Okay, listen, what I just want to tell Rich then, since he's got the comment, I gave her, hold on.
Hang on, let me answer. But you can also look at Ulink as another good one just for LinkedIn features, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. What about Lemlist?
I don't use it. I haven't used it in years, so I don't remember anything about it.
I did write that one down too, though.
What about Skylead.io, which people were
no, I mean there's a million of them. There's LinkedIn Helper. There's so many of them. Like Cleverly on or Closerly, I think it is on AppSumo right now, has a LinkedIn deal, a LinkedIn and email they're working through.
I've been using Linked Helper, by the way.
I couldn't figure it out. It was so complicated.
Yeah.
I saw a demo for Leonar, so Leonar.crm today. It's not bad. There's a few features that I think are missing, but only on the candidate side, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Jobbin is like you tell you've got the problem and they fix it like that. Like there was like I wanted to be able to delete like I had cleaned up I maxed out on my connections, so I wanted to clean them up. And the instant, like in a day, he created a feature for me where I could pull like everyone out of China, like off of LinkedIn for my connections and things like that. Yeah, but it's if you get like you send invitations out that don't get answered for 3 weeks, you can withdraw them all and stuff like that.
One of the new things
Rebecca,
that
Rebecca, what do you want to do with all of this? I mean, what's your goal?
Like I mentioned, I mean, I've gone from working from some of the biggest names in the agency world to now just being backed by a small UK firm and kind of like starting our tech office from the agency perspective from scratch. So I'm just looking at all tools right now. I mean, generally speaking, we're using, you know, your standard Bullhorn, we have Lucia, we have like all of the canned tools that most recruiters have. So things like this, I mean, I've heard of them, I've been looking into them. I logged into the Tech Rec podcast to try to get, you know, some more intel, but figured you guys would just shoot me straight from the beginning and not waste my time. So this is exactly the information I needed.
I think with most of these, it really comes down to what you need and what you're looking for. And then the thing is, there's so many of them that are coming out every day, and none of them are perfect. And you have to do little by little by little, and then use tools to work around what you don't have with what your existing ATS. What ATS do you have?
We're using Bullhorn right now, but I mean,
what's your first problem?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a data nerd though, so I keep everything kind of just like manually in Excel still. But I'm looking at all tools to try to see what would be the smartest way to go about this.
I think if you're looking at an ATS that's good, I think between Crelate and Luxo, those two are probably the leaders in what they're doing and being innovative and what they're coming out with all the time, and they're competing with each other, so they're good at it. And
Final question goes to Gavin. Gavin asked a philosophical question. He had a lot of postings we haven't gotten to. There's many weeks in the future, but he asked a philosophical question that reminded me of how many angels are on the head of a pin, and Rich gave the answer, okay? Rich gave the answer. And Gavin's question was, are you actually doing marketing or sales when you do business development? Okay. And Rich's answer, he's told us a million times on the show. He says, I leave a voicemail every time I call. I send out as many emails as I can and as many texts, because the more they hear my name, the better. Okay. I don't care if they respond this time, but the volume is going to saturate the ground with the minefield of my name. Is that an answer to your question, Gavin? Is that right? It's both things.
So what Rich is saying is, and on that pin, it's just Rich.
Yeah. I didn't get the transition from the angel pit.
That's the angel. That's I am the angel.
Is it marketing or sales? It's both. Okay. Yeah. It's a ridiculous question. Go ahead.
Answer your ridiculous question.
Gavin, you get to take me on now. Tell me why I'm so foolish.
You misunderstood the post. The question was the original point that James Osborne made was, there's too many people that think that they're doing sales, but they're actually doing marketing. Like, if you're just sending out email campaigns, you're not actually selling. You are doing marketing. And what's going to happen now is that we've had this glut of candidates, and thousands or hundreds, dozens of thousands, let's say, of recruiters have joined our industry over the last 2 years because there was a huge demand. And we're now going to migrate slowly but surely to a situation where we're going to have to start doing business development and really finding new clients and going out there and selling. And there's these dozens of thousands of recruiters, they've never done it because they've only been doing marketing. They've been sending stuff off, but actually hardcore selling, getting in there, selling the services to a client or selling a job to a candidate, they've never done it before. And so that's where the question originally came from. Do you think you're doing marketing or you're doing sales?
I mean, unless you're talking to someone, it's marketing. You're not selling just through an email or, I mean, to me, that's marketing or it's business development, whatever term you want to give it. But it's hard to sell someone purely from an email. Like, you can get them interested, but that's marketing. That's what a commercial does. That's marketing to me, right?
But the whole point is that you might be doing quite a lot of marketing, but you're also doing selling.
Yeah.
And there are many, 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 many recruiters out there that are only doing marketing. They don't know how to sell.
Agreed.
And that's a huge issue, mostly for them. For you and me, as recruiters, it's just going to make our life more easy.
Yeah. Well, that's the only positive of the downturn is it wipes away all these, lemmings.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that sales is persuasion. You're persuading the client to use you or the candidate to move. Is that what these guys are saying? Is that what
Pete Ames said very well? He said, marketing is one-to-many, sales is one-on-one. So that's already a first broad definition of what you're doing. If, you know, Rich, when Rich says he's leaving messages and voicemails to people, it is marketing because he's leaving his name, but it's actually selling because it's one-on-one.
But it's only selling if they're calling him back.
Rich will make sure they're going to call him back.
I'll track them down.
But I mean,
anybody else want to comment on that? Anybody about this sales versus marketing? I think it's ridiculous what was just said, okay? Because you gave Rich, you're sucking up to this guy saying, okay, yeah, he leaves a million voicemails, but because each one is individual, that means it's selling. That's all the question was.
No, to him, it's marketing until somebody responds to him, and it's selling.
That's what Gavin's saying. Yeah, I guess
that's what Rich is saying too.
Yeah.
Okay, but what is selling when you're talking to that one person on the phone? What is it? You never define it.
That's when you go to work.
Sorry, you're saying talking to the person on the phone is the selling. You know, leaving a voicemail. You're trying. If you're depends on what your pitch is, you're pitching something. You're selling.
But all I'm saying is, and Michael G. Cox, who specializes in salespeople, if they're just talking to a person, is it selling, or is there some special kind of talk like argumentation, debate, persuasion that is sales? Michael G. Cox, final word goes to you.
Well, I would say that once you're on the phone with a prospect, client, or candidate, you're more in a selling mode. Up until that point, you're just marketing.
You know, so many recruiters say they don't sell, they deliver information.
Okay.
They also don't deliver paychecks themselves either. Well, eventually you got to sell.
That's because whatever makes you feel better about picking up that phone.
Exactly. There you go.
Anybody else want to say anything? No? Okay. Everything about recruitment.com. Raise your hand. I gave him an ad first at the start of the show, and I won't cut that out. Ernie, foodindustryrecruiter.com, Cornerstone Search. thesalesrecruiter.com. Our good friend Becca graced us with her presence today. You have to find her on, is it on LinkedIn then? Are you Rebecca Acosta? Is that
on LinkedIn? It's Rebecca Acosta. Yeah, we talk about this all the time on Facebook. It's spelled differently because I don't want my candidates to Google me.
Okay. Okay, you don't want him to find you, so I can't help it. Okay, but she's good. She's good. I recommend her. Get a URL one day. Okay, smarten up. Sasha Tesanovic up in heaven. David and Marr, who had to leave. Thanks, everybody. I enjoyed it.